Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how to make brown stew pork chops with steamed cabbage. So I'm going to show you my favorite cut of pork chops. It's called the rib end or rib chop. So I don't know about you, but I definitely washes my meat, okay, especially in lemon juice. Lemon juice is good, fresh lemons is good, and vinegar is good. So those are usually all the options that I use. So after washing and drying the meat, we're going to get into the seasonings. We got the Szechuan, the garlic, the onion powder, the black pepper, of course. We got the oxtail seasoning. Don't ask me why, okay? But seriously, I usually use a little bit of oxtail seasoning. And we got the brown end, the fish and meat sauce, and of course we got that jerk sauce. Whatever I'm cooking, I love to use my bell peppers. I love to use my onions, my scallions, my scotch bonnet pepper. We're just going to go ahead and chop everything up for the meat and also for the steamed cabbage. So we're going to use the seasonings for the pork and for the steamed cabbage. So we're kind of just going to divide it in half. Now we're going to add half to the meat and just let it sit for 30 minutes to an hour. You just want to let that seasoning just soak up. Plus, when pork is seasoned for a long time, it tastes better, period. So while the pork is marinating, we're going to go ahead and cut up our cabbage and also grate the carrots. I did not feel like buying the carrots already shredded because sometimes it's too thick. So I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't want to buy it from the grocery store. So now the cabbage is all cut up and we're going to get into the carrots and how I shred them or grate them. If you don't want to buy them from the grocery store, if you want them a little thinner, I would suggest doing it this way, or to save time, you can just buy from the grocery store. So after shredding the carrots, we're going to add the other half of the fresh seasonings to a pot of oil because now we're going to do the cabbage. And I season everything: onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper. You can season to your liking. I'm seasoning for the cabbage, so you want to make sure that's seasoned really, really well because cabbage have no taste. So after seasoning the fresh ingredients, you want to let that sit for a while, and then you can go ahead and start adding your cabbage and your carrots to the pot. And let me remind you, please do not add water to your cabbage because cabbage naturally sweats, and that's where the water comes from, okay? So the cabbage should look like this. Make sure that you're stirring so that the fresh ingredients on the bottom do not burn, so that everything cooks cohesively together. We're going to take another look at the cabbage, and then we're going to go ahead and start searing the pork chops. I'm doing it in a cast iron skillet. Make sure that oil is really hot so you can get a nice brown sear. And after you're done searing on both sides, you're just going to take it out, let it sit for a while you're continuing to sear all the pork chops. After searing all the pork chops on both sides, we're basically going to add oil to another pot so that we can saute the veggies that was on the meat before. I guess you can call this the gravy making process. So we're going to add the onions, the peppers, the scallion, the thyme, all those things that was sitting on the meat, soaking up the season. We're just basically going to fry everything up and then go ahead and make the gravy. After letting the veggies cook for a while, I'm going to add a bottle of water to the mixture right here. You can add an extra half because I wanted more gravy, and if you're like me, you love your gravy. So now we're going to add the ketchup, the fish and meat sauce. I always re-season everything. After adding everything to the pot, you're just going to cover and let it simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes. And yes, I added more fresh ingredients because I love cooking with fresh ingredients: fresh onions, fresh peppers, fresh scotch bonnet pepper, everything. And when it's done, it should look like this. I just need a little bit more gravy, but better luck next time. So if you're doing low carb, this part is definitely not for you. I made some white rice to go with the brown stew pork chop. If you are doing low carb, you can definitely just have the pork chop with the steamed cabbage and call it dinner, call it lunch, call it good eats.